It seems Liechtenstein's looking for allies. For his own ends.
And how's he going to do it? Didn't you see them all fighting tooth and nail here just a while ago?
Well, different approaches work with different people.
The only approach that'll work with Sigismund is open resistance. Maybe on the field of battle?
Let's hope young Lord Capon manages to stay free for a while longer. Ever since leaving Rattay, he's gone from one pile of trouble to another.
That's one thing you can always count on him for. I'll gladly wager with you he'll end up in some other shit by evening.
God forbid. Henry's not here now to pull him out of it.
In that case, it'll be up to you. I'm sure you wouldn't leave him to disgrace himself in front of Hanush.
A lot of people think the wealthy burghers will stick with Sigismund, whether out of fear or convenience.
Well, that's to be expected. As long as Sigismund has the city council under his thumb, no one will rock the boat.
Well, at least there's a few individuals here, like Ruthard.
Sigismund confiscated his castle and half his estates. That'll be enough to make a man mad. Not to mention that his son was killed in the siege of the city.
Sir Bocek, I need to speak with you for a moment.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea in his ear. Jobst comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over, Thorin.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men-at-arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men-at-arms as a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
How can I persuade you?
I need guarantees of security. I don't want to end up like Ruthard.
Of course. Once it comes to protecting property, ideals go out the window.
You can talk, since you haven't got a pot to piss in yourself. If you were in my position, you'd think differently. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the cold if you openly oppose Sigismund.
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have the certainty that I won't be left alone.
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
I believe Liechtenstein is single.
And an uncertain party. Besides, he's inconvenient for Sigismund. Yitka could end up being a pawn to blackmail both of us.
How about young Lord Capon?
He's a youngster still.
What's wrong with him? He's young, he's handsome, women are fighting over him. Yitka will like him, and he'll give her a whole bunch of children.
And to half the wenches in his domain too, eh? On the other hand, the Lords of Lipa have a good reputation, and Hanush can always be relied on, despite his temper. Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
I'll convey your offer to Lord Capon. If he agrees, we can celebrate our lives.
I don't care what the young lord thinks. Hanush is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support your plan.
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom. Things have come to a pretty pass.
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice. Now stop dilly-dallying and go and tell Hanush.
Good day to you. tankard of ale, thanks.
I've got those papers from Alder for you.
Quiet! You don't have to announce it to everyone.
My lady, with all the clamor going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. And now you're part of the bargain.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein's proposal with both words and money.
Thank you, noble lady. God will...
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our bargain, Godwin.
How could I refuse a toast with such a fine lady? To your health, Lady Anna.
And to the success of our efforts.
I've got some good news and some bad news for you.
The bad news is there's hardly any females in this whole damned place. There's some old bat standing there with two young girls, but she watches over them like a mother hen. So at least tell me the good news.
You're going to get married.
Good one. Is she at least pretty?
I don't know. I've never seen her.
You're really a barrel of laughs, Godwin. Wait till Hannah hears this. Now, enough nonsense. Let's have a drink to your health and my freedom.
I'd better slow down, or I won't live to see the morning.
Ah, what can one expect from a man of the cloth?
I'll tell you, nobody has the likes of these.
Not even butchering. Your Grace, may I disturb you for a moment?
Certainly.
Godwin, I came with the lords from Ratai.
Now I remember. Forgive me, there are many guests and I only have one head.
Lord Liechtenstein asked me for help, in our collective interest. But if you'll allow me, sir, I'd like to ask you a few questions, so I'm clear about what I can do to help.
Indeed. And what would you like to know?
On whose side do the wealthy burghers stand?
From the entire elite of Kuttenberg. Only Kunzelin Rutard and Haman Alder have come here. Not that I'm surprised. The king keeps a close eye on them through the city council, seeking the slightest pretext to confiscate their wealth.
But if Rutard and Alder can be persuaded...
We don't need to convince Rutard. And Martin is already working on Alder. But he might be pushing a little hard.
I wasn't expecting to meet the rabbi of Kuttenberg here.
Really? Half of Kuttenberg has accumulated debts with usurers that they cannot repay, or even do not intend to. The rabbi knows his people are under threat, and that Sigismund will not protect them if something should befall, similar to what happened in Prague.
So they naturally took a stance against Sigismund.
What's more, if Wenceslas regains the throne, they can expect him to reward them.
John of Liechtenstein is acting in your interest, isn't he?
That was the original agreement. And on the outside, it still looks that way, I trust.
But it was you who sent him to Kuttenberg, wasn't it?
True. But I certainly never told him to hole up in the Jewish quarter and pursue his own private plans there. And by doing so, he put both himself and our common interests in jeopardy.
I understood that he was on our side.
Yes, he is. Only he is slowly starting to act more and more on his own initiative.
Although, that doesn't have to be a bad thing, does it?
He still lacks the experience to be capable of evaluating some situations. But he is persuasive and easily wins people to his side. Unfortunately.
Do you still think the Lords will agree at the end of the day? I'm beginning to lose hope.
That's the way of politics. Some are persuaded by silver, some by a well-chosen word. Others are convinced by tempting promises.
And if none of that does the trick?
Such cases usually end in quarrels between former allies, while the enemy is laughing up his sleeve.
Your plan, if I may be so bold, has a few gaping holes. Sigismund may attack anywhere and any time. And we have no way to defend ourselves. You want to wait, fine. But you should at least give some assurance to the Lords that they'll live to see it through.
You amuse me, Godwin. A parish priest teaching the Margrave of Moravia about politics. I know you mean well, but try to look at it with cold reasoning.
I'd reason better with an army at my back.
Do you realize how much such an army costs? The gentlemen here have trouble agreeing about much lesser sums.
And if a way could be found, and the means...
Before that happens, Sigismund will take his shoes off and head off to Rome barefoot.
Zum Wohl, meine Freunde.
Where's the drunk that's walking around?
I'd like to check your horses out and see if they're as good as you say.
Pah, even better. But you won't believe it until you see for yourself.
And you might not believe your eyes when you do see them. Well, well, we have a new guest.
I wanted to...
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without it by your leave. Or to arrest my guests some more?
I want to have a word with Older.
Well, I'm having a word with you.
I apologize, Father.
For interrupting our conversation? Or just for being you?
Is that your...
Unfortunately. Speak up then. What are you doing here?
I came with a delegation from Sir Hanush of Lipa.
Is this a joke?
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in wenches and booze. I got him a place at the Archbishopric to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then I find out he's settled in some backwater parish in Sassau. But he took his boozing and whoring along with him, lost everything, and then came creeping home again. Huh?
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our whole family?
You're exaggerating, like you've always done.
Me? Exaggerating? You're the one who turned my home into a house of ill repute. Your whores wandering around as if they owned the place.
Aye. Actually, anything fun was strictly banned under your roof. But maybe you ought to try it yourself sometime. Then maybe you wouldn't be such a bitter old grouch.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor. If you had any, you'd be...
That's enough.
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
I refuse to fight. I'm here as an envoy, not a jester.
You've got no other option. You insulted Father's honor.
Gentlemen, surely there's no need for violence. I can have a word in private with Lord Odorin, the second, as he desires, and then...
Out of the question. This uncouth lout needs a lesson, and he's got plenty to learn from Christopher. By God's grace, I have at least one son I can be proud of.
You want satisfaction? You'll get nothing but shame, as always. Suit yourself, then. We'll fight. Come to the outer courtyard, but quietly. We don't have to put on a show for the crowd.
After you.
Well, that's that. Now, where were we?
Shouldn't we rather...
No, Christopher will sort it out, you'll see.
Make room for us. We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Stay back! Did they teach you that in the seminary?
Cover your right side! You've got a gap there I can drive a
Not
car
bad for a
through.
priest. Ha! Hey, who taught you that?
Wanker!
Look at my eye, not my sword.
Don't pinch.
Did they teach you that in the seminary?
Swing with your whole arm, not just your wrist.
My God. Where did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good-for-nothing boozer. But you could teach sword fighting in a school.
I was in a war, right after they kicked me out of the archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Why? Well, I apologize for going off like that. I had to, so that...
So Father would be satisfied. I know. Only he'll never be satisfied. The sooner you realize that, the better.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second would become something.
Not at all. I remember him the same since I was a nipper. When I was 6 years old, I fell off a horse and broke my leg. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because I'd let him down.
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days until I was able to shoot my first hare.
Only 3 days. He got soft.
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk about you at home.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to rights a little.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder.
I've got to get him on our side and to cooperate with us.
Aren't we all on the same side?
Maybe everyone's saying that. But it's time to put it into action.
After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do, though?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust me and tell me what it's all about.
All right, then. You've heard Yob's plan, right? It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an army to back us up.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an outright admission of rebelling against Sigismund.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he agrees, they'll follow.
I expect Alder's not the only one you're after.
You got that right.
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Pa doesn't need to know about it.
You're starting to sound like a brother. Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do? Let's hear it then.
I've gained us a powerful ally.
And who is it? I hope it's not one of those Kuttenberg stuffed guts.
On the contrary, it's Bocek, the Elder of Kunstadt and Podjebrad.
Kunstad? My Christ, he's the last one I'd have expected to step up. How the hell did you do it?
Well, there's one little catch. I had to promise him... I don't even know how to begin.
Out with it.
Lord Kunstad has a niece, so... I arranged a betrothal for young Lord Capon, with your blessing if you agree.
Hans Capon is to marry Yitka of Kunstad. Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstad's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Oh.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it, shall we?
Cheers!
Cheers to you, and to your parleying skills.
Well, that is unfortunate.
Exactly why we...
Sabocek, your niece Yitka can start preparing for her wedding.
So Hanush agreed, without reservations.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill my end of the bargain without reservation.
Thank you, Lord of Kunstad.
Enough formality. We'll have a drink. What do you say?
Cheers to the beautiful Lady Yitka and the unhappy Lord Capon.
Here's to a good bargain.
Of course. Always about money.
I'm still hoping it works out and we walk out of here with a clear plan. But maybe you were right. It was probably not the best idea to gather all the lords under one roof.
At other times,
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful conclusion of the negotiations.
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstad will support our cause.
Both of them. Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me, my lords?
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord, but we will wait with an army at our backs.
Yes! Yeah. And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the Balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians, our community, and not only ours, will give you coin.
Yes! The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslaus, and we stand with Lord Ruthard.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Lords Kunstadt, Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas.
I mean, I did warn him. What happened to your hat? Oh, there's your hat.
After we conquered the city, you promised to restore order immediately. And then I find out things are even more disordered than before.
Your Majesty, we are sorry. We will put it to rights.
You've already said that. I want to hear real solutions.
We will put more guards on the roads and toughen penalties. We can have a few captured bandits executed as an example to others.
We do not care about bandits. We care about rebellious nobles and burghers. What will you do with them? How will you solve the chaos in the town administration, the rebellious miners, and the dismal yields? And how is it even possible that a rebellion against the king is smoldering here in the city?
What do you mean, sire?
I hear the resistance is coming from the Jewish quarter, from right under your noses. Why haven't you done anything?
We don't know who is behind this. Without evidence, we cannot punish them.
Otto von Berghoff did not ask questions in Prague either. He acted. And I advise you to do the same. Find a couple of wretches in a hole somewhere. Point them to the Jewish quarter and give them free rein to do anything. The city's Jewish community was and still is on Wenceslas' side. They need a warning.
We do not even have enough men to...
Marquardt, could you spare a few men for a while?
Of course, sire. I'll assign them to Eric. He'll take care of it.
So you see, all you have to do is make sure the city rebel get their share. You could at least manage that, couldn't you? And if the thought should cross your minds that you would get rid of the debts to the Jewish moneylenders this way, forget about it. Your debts will remain, up to the last groschen. Only now you owe us directly. And while we are on the subject of money, has the yield from the mines finally matched last year's?
Sire, the deposits are dwindling, and mining is becoming increasingly difficult. And to make matters worse, the miners started rebelling.
Don't take us for a fool. They'll stop rebelling when you pay them proper wages.
Your Majesty, we can't do that.
Silence! How dare you oppose the kingdom's protector? You're a bunch of incompetent sycophants. Chicken shits. Not any better than the scum hiding in the forest.
And drunks! Give them hell! Lazy fools, the lot of them.
How dare you?
Some of you are even swelling right here in the city council meeting. This is unbelievable.
Remove this swill pot from the hall immediately.
I'm telling the truth. This whole council is a farce. The whole city knows it.
Lord of Sargits, your insolence just cost you your place on the council, and a month in the dungeon.
But...
Hopefully that'll be enough for him to sober up. And if not, put him in the pillory for a while, bailiff.
I'll see to it as soon as the council is over, Your Majesty.
All I hear from you over and over again are excuses and prevarication. And results? None. I therefore place the City Council under the authority of Sir Marquardt von Aulitz, who is present here, with immediate effect. He will make sure you finally do your duty.
But, sire, that would be a violation of the privileges granted to us as a free mining town.
Silence! I am the only guarantor of your rights. You have to earn your privileges, not hide behind them. During my brother's reign, this idleness was perhaps tolerated. But that is over now. You were given a few simple tasks. But instead of working on them, you idled in the baths and lined your pockets. And let the traitors cast their nets undisturbed. But unlike my brother, I am capable of creating order. And I assure you, I do not distinguish between those who stand in my way. Be they beggars, noblemen, or city councillors. You have 2 weeks to restore order in the city and increase mining output. I want clear results, and you answer only to me and Sir Marquardt von Aulitz now. No one else. The council is dismissed. You, don't go anywhere, boy. Be so kind and remain here. Our throat has become rather dry. And we still wish to speak with our friend von Aulitz.
Yes, sire. As you wish, sire.
Between the two of us, Marquardt, was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly. We have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you were harsh, but rightfully so. These councillors, they need to be shown their place. You suffered their insolence for far too long. And the same is true of the Jews.
We know. Otto repeated to us several times that it is time to strike against them. We are glad he's not here. He would be intolerably self-satisfied if he knew we had heeded him.
Boy, can't you see the king's cup is empty?
You tend to us as if we were infirm. Boy, pour us a monastic wine. The monks had a good year. We have concerns. The Hungarians are rebelling.
Monastic is out.
Would we had a proper army instead of human mercenaries? They cannot be relied upon. And we are no closer to our goal now than a few months ago.
Are you deaf? His Majesty asked for red wine.
Oh.
If our father were still alive, he would have been astonished by the mess that a few years of
I thought that was the case.
With a single word, he would have put the nobility in their place, and the country would flourish. God grant him eternal glory.
We won't need much more time. We'll arrest the traitor Odorin. And the rest...
Why can't I do this?
You say the others will be brought into line, but what do you know of them? We know only a few of them. But there's a fortress standing on every damn hill here. What side are their lords on?
I'm sorry.
If only Wenceslas were not such
What the
a
hell?
stubborn ass and relinquished that throne that he has no use for anyway. The nobility, on the other hand, found a ruler like him very useful. They made a puppet out of him.
Once you restore order, they'll join you. All you have to do is promise them the privileges they lost during Wenceslas' reign.
First, they'd have to be willing to make peace at least among themselves. Jobst does everything he can to sow chaos, so that he himself emerges victorious in the end. This business makes me thirsty. Pour me some of that red, boy.
I think Jobst is just waiting for the right moment. He'll switch sides when it suits him.
Maybe. But first I'll have to conquer a few more cities, and get a couple more lords on my side. Then they take the threat of war seriously. And Hungary. If Bohemia is a wasp nest, then Hungary is a viper's lair.
You will follow in his footsteps, sire, as soon as you get the chance.
But the wine is new to you. To your health, Margaret. And to your health too, boy. May your children grow in a land ruled by a good king. You did a good job, waiter. You can be proud of yourself.
To your health, Your Majesty.
First, we need to crack down on the biggest troublemakers.
We're working on it. While the council was meeting, from Berghoff, his men set out for ambush. Alderaan won't give you any more trouble.
He and Ruthard are in it together. Once we get Oderyn, we can handle Ruthard easily. Rabosh will be yours. After all, Otto has already got Malishov.
I appreciate your confidence, sire.
But the devil knows there are a lot more strongholds to conquer here.
For the king, red wine, boy.
No, we shall have white. We have had enough of red.
White it is. Quickly! If Rabosh falls, others will follow.
I think von Berghoff's little contraption will find its use again.
If need be, we could use it to raise this town hall too. And I have some suggestions for other candidates.
Not so fast, my friend. It's a wondrous tool, but we can't rely on it forever.
But to bring it here to the square and point it at the city hall? Those sycophants would only benefit from a warning like that.
It's a splendid idea, but it won't be necessary. The councillors are quite fearful enough already that they can hide nothing from us.
There's been enough fretting, sire. You shall see.
Why are we standing in front of
For
him?
the conquest of another fortress.
You are right. So then, to victory. And you, boy, will you drink with us? So that you shall have something to tell your children and grandchildren.
To victory, sire.
To today's, and those of the future.
Look, here's the thing, right? If the king himself invites you, there's no reason to deny it. Because if he punishes you for following his orders, he looks like a fool. Only an idiot would do that.
Lord Constance is marrying the young Lord of Herkstein.
I sure did.
What name is unpronounceable?
Everyone knows.
Vauquelin Brabant.
How'd you like our wine, Chevalier?
The art of winemaking has a long tradition in La Belle France. Recipes are passed on from father to son, and each generation brings them to perfection. I myself was practically raised on wine. How many I have tasted. Even the French royal court took note of my refined taste. The king himself had wine delivered for his table according to my advice.
I expect his lordship had the best barrels rolled out. Now, if you'd only known he had a real connoisseur here.
Best barrels! Mon ami, this wine would perhaps be suited to the infirmary, where it would suffice for cleaning wounds and easing pain. For that, the taste is of little consequence. Give me 100 knights in full armor.
Fucking for beggars.
This young puppet. So you see, the best thing we could do
A word with you, friend.
Are you in need of something, my well-oiled friend?
I'd like to drink a toast with you to our joint success. As they say, all's well that ends well. So, to brighter tomorrows.
Touching.
Come now. What's become of your poetic soul?
I never had one.
Truly? Not even a little?
Not a bit. I'm just a cynical old pragmatist.
In that case, in quite simple and pragmatic terms, the wine has run out.
Fuck. I've got a tongue like a slice of weak old bread after all that gabbing.
Well, get something wet for us then.
His lordship is so unsteady on his legs, he can't make it as far as the keg.
To hell with that keg slop. Your father surely has something better stored away. I had my eye on him all evening. He had pictures brought from somewhere for himself and his closest friends, and left the rest of us to drink cheap dregs. Try and find one of those pictures for us, eh? I'm sure you can manage that.
You can bet on it. I've got a nose for booze.
I don't doubt it. Get sniffing quick.
Until then, Sigismund's men can trample over us one after another.
Come on, someone will see us.
They won't. You come here.
The sooner life returns to this country.
Let's drink to that.
To King Wenceslas. Oh, the piglet!
Wait, do I find a jug of wine?
Oh, son over there.
I would just call you. Excuse-moi. Half of the French court knows me by that name.
He's marrying me delicious.
Do you get it, Father?
Please, call me Rabbi, Lord Cape.
Oh, whatever. Fuck it.
And you should not curse either.
See? You talk exactly the same as our holier-than-thous.
What is bothering you, young man? You should rejoice that you are to be married.
But I didn't ask for a wife. I wanted to prove that I was worthy of the name of my house. Earn a reputation. Travel the world. And maybe later, one day...
Then you might be dead, sir. Think about the future. You need an heir.
But they could have at least asked me. What if she's some ugly monster?
Then she will be a rich monster. And God willing, the children will take after you.
Anyway, I need more wine to wash down my pain. Will you drink with me?
I shall not, son. Intemperance is against God's commandments.
Ha! Told you! You're the same as our priests. But, to your credit, you actually practice what you preach.
Sorry, have you got some time to spare?
From cleaning up this pigsty? Any time.
I need help with something. Do you know where I might be able to find the wine pitchers? I mean the ones with the really good wine that the Lord saves for his nearest and dearest.
And you're one of those?
I should say so. I'm his son.
And I'm the king's daughter. Anyway, I don't know nothing about no wine. In case you haven't noticed, I'm sweeping the floor, and I'm about to mop up vomit. Try asking my ma. She's the cook here.
Greetings. Can't it wait till morning?
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but are you busy?
What do you think? A fortress full of hungry mouths and half of them noble lords accustomed to all kinds of debauchery.
I haven't eaten so well in a long time. Lord Odorin was fortunate in his choice of cook.
He didn't have to choose me. My old ma spent her whole life in this kitchen, and my grandmother before her. God rest them both.
Wait, you're Kvieta's daughter, Madlenka.
It's been a long time since anyone has called me by that name. I was afraid you'd forgotten me.
You haven't changed at all.
But I have. And you've changed too. You left a haughty young pup, and now you return...
An old dog.
Not at all. The years have been kind to you.
And how have you been all this time? Did my father give you a hard time?
Not really. When he remarried and had another son, his mood improved quite a bit. I also got married. And soon I had my little Elishka running around under my feet in the kitchen. Young Sir Christopher used to come and play with her sometimes. He was always a very nice lad.
Tell me more about Elishka.
She's a big girl now. She's a maid here for now, but I'm sure they'll find her a better job soon.
Well, aren't you worried about her? A young girl doesn't have it easy in life.
Even as a little girl, she used to beat up the boys in the village. I put up with all sorts of things without a peep, but not her.
And your husband?
Kuba? He died when Elishka was just a baby. He got bitten by a dog, and the wound festered. It was quick.
God grant him eternal life. Why don't we go somewhere together? Somewhere private. And reminisce about the old days.
You really haven't changed at all. You ought go and have a drink and stop chasing girls. I mean, it's embarrassing at your age.
Where might I find the really good wine here?
Why? You don't like the stuff from the kegs?
It's not for me. One of the distinguished guests asked for it.
Aha. If you go down the cellar stairs, you'll see the pictures lined up on the table. It's Lord Odorin's best. He's drunk plenty of it himself today.
Everybody likes a drop of white.
Now there's a piece of horseflesh for you, Rudart. Not like that nag of yours.
What the hell do you beat it with? It looks more like a damn bull.
Sir! Sir! There's some horsemen right out front of your fortress.
Ah, that's Peter of Pisac. He wouldn't come to the council, but he is coming happily to this celebration, you old fox.
Come on in, sir. There's wine aplenty. Hey! Hey! Intruders! Enemies at the gates!
Seize the nobles! Kill the rest!
Oh, good.
Jesus! The surrounding Christopher can't make it on his own.
Good! But he's still standing! He's done for!
Take that! And one step back! Stand your ground!
Right, Simba!
Okay, I saw protect your brother and it failed, so.
Jesus! The surrounding Christopher he can't make it on his own.
You're right, Whacker! You caught him out sweetly! He's done for! He's done for!
Stand your ground!
You let him on night, please. I took him down. Come on then. Nice strike.
Okay, did it that time. Here's this Henry. Switch back to my
Quick! You let him on.
Whoa!
Christ! I'll be done with you in a flash.
I'm stuck.
Right between the eyes. Show your stuff. That must hurt.
God, Henry is dead.
He's had it. Mon Dieu, do you call that sort fighting?
Yeah, playing as another character and then switching back to Henry. My God.
Too close. Fuck me. Do my eyes deceive me? Henry!
Godwin!
How did you get...
Damn. I can't tell you how happy I am to see you. You turned up at just the right moment.
Is everyone alright?
Well, some are, some aren't.
They captured Odorin, Kunstad and Rutard. And they took Alder and Conrad of Vector away too.
They wanted to slay the rest like dogs.
What about my father? And Hanush?
They left with Yorks long before that. I'm sure they're all right, but not everyone was so lucky.
I tried to come as soon as possible and warn you, but von Bergov's people beat me here.
You knew he was coming.
He wanted Odorin. He probably had no idea they'd find most of Sigismund's enemies here in one place.
I bet he couldn't believe his fucking luck.
And Sigismund will be moving at a gallop. We have to be really careful now. One wrong move, and he'll hang the lords.
Is there anything we can do?
Definitely not right now. We'll treat the wounded, bury the dead, get the hell out of here. Then we'll hide in the Devil's Den and wait for Jobst and his army.
If I survive the journey... Oh, God's teeth. That stupid nag nearly broke me in half.
The king announced one more thing at the council. He asked the councillors to ransack the Jewish quarter. That is, he ordered it, more like.
Fuck! Liechtenstein's got his people there. They could reveal a lot.
The city rabbi is sitting upstairs in the hall. At least he's safe here.
They're our allies. We have to help them.
What do you mean by we? Everyone here is lucky to be still breathing. I can just see them all jumping to their feet and rush to save their poor Jews.
Maybe Samuel will figure something out. He wanted to talk to you anyway.
He's here too?
Aye, escorting the rabbi. You should go and see them as soon as possible. And tell Liechtenstein too.
Anyway, we've got work to do. Godwin?
Give me a moment. I'll go and see Christopher first. Guard the walls until morning. If anyone shows up, I want to know about it. I'll be with Christopher.
What about your horse? I don't know. I saw him bolting out the gate. Someone...
Yeah, take all their armor and shit.
Good to see you both. Alive.
Oh, come on. You know, I've walked out of much worse scrapes laughing.
They could well have killed us all. If it hadn't been for you, Henry, von Berkhoff could have caused a lot more harm.
Von Aulitz surprised even Sigismund with that. You should have seen the look on the king's face when he told him.
Well, thank God we all survived.
Well, not all of us. They killed Lady Anna of Volstein and many other nobles. It was slaughter.
And they captured our closest and most influential allies. Without them, we can hardly get the burghers on our side. We're stuck.
We'll figure out a way to help them.
But how? Our plans are ruined.
Get a grip. Whining doesn't help anyone.
You're right. When I drink too much wine, I get overwhelmed with self-pity. Nevertheless, I have to admit it can't get much worse.
Actually, it might. Very soon. At Sigismund's council, an order was given to ransack the Jewish quarter.
God's wounds! We need to get back to the city and warn them. I'm going with you. Out of the question. Do you want to end up imprisoned again? You'll be more useful if you stay here and help Shishka. Henry, tell Samuel and the rabbi to get ready to travel. I'll try to get someone else to join.
What do you make of this Brabant fellow?
He's unquestionably a remarkable knight, that Vakelin. He rambles on a lot, though. My head nearly burst listening to him sometimes. Although it was better than being stuck there alone. Otherwise, he seems to me like a bold and worldly gentleman, if a little obsessed with wealth.
I agree. He seems quite likeable. And he's got a score to settle with Sigismund, like we do.
He certainly has.
What happened when von Berghoff hauled you off after the Nabokov battle?
It was a dreadful journey. Jesus, don't even remind me. It was a bit better in Malashov. Apart from being locked up, of course.
Did anything happen along the way?
No, but it took ages to get to Malashov. 4 or 5 days in that god-awful cart. I was traveling with von Aulitz's minions. They hauled me in one of the wagons. They treated my wounds a bit, but I was still in a really bad way. After that battle and all.
What did they do with you in Malashov?
Nothing much, actually. They took care of my wounds, and then stuck me in a room with Brabant. But they treated me decently, as befits a noble. Von Berghoff came asking questions a couple of times, but that was about it. Only I almost went mad from being cramped in that damned room. It's a good thing you got me out of there.
Well, what was the problem with the room?
That I couldn't get out of there. You saw yourself when you came for me, didn't you? It's just that since Nabokov, when they shot the tower right down on my head and I was stuck there. Well, since then, I don't feel well in cramped spaces. Actually, I never did. I always preferred to be outdoors. But since Nabokov, it's worse than ever. I had a feeling the roof would fall on my head again and I'd be buried alive.
They didn't let you out at all? But you were in that room for ages.
No. They let us walk around the fortress a bit. We even went out for a ride twice, but they watched us like hawks. Not a chance of escape. But most of the time we were in that room. Like I say, I'm really glad you got me out of that hole.
What did von Berghoff want from you?
Just the usual courtesies. The captivity of nobles has to observe certain formalities, you know? It's not like they could just throw you in some hole. They behaved fairly respectfully, but of course he was fishing for information. About Radzig and Hanush, and especially Jobst. What they're planning, how many men they have on the field, who else they're negotiating with and that.
What did you tell him?
Nothing that he didn't already know. I played as dumb as the village idiot. I only told him they sent us with that message and discussed the rest when we were gone.
And did he swallow it?
I think he suspected I was bluffing a bit. And then he tried to loosen my tongue by letting me go hungry for a while. But he soon gave up when he saw he was getting nothing more from me.
My word. Nice work keeping him at bay.